In the spotlight tonight is Stuart Cross from Carlisle, a gallery assistant. His specialist subject is the life and works of Titian. Andrew Burrows from Shropshire, a television subtitler, and his subject is Alan Partridge. Eleanor McNair from Bath, a retired scientific civil servant. Her subject, Boswell and Johnson's Tours of the Hebrides. And David Morgan from Shrewsbury, a care worker whose subject is the history of the Football World Cup. Hello, I'm John Humphreys and welcome to Mastermind. The rules, as you know, are simple. Each of the contenders has chosen a specialist subject and that takes care of the first 2 minutes of questions. Then the second 2 minutes based on general knowledge. The winner tonight goes through to the next stage and then, who knows, the final, the big prize, a glass bowl. But much more importantly, the highly coveted title of Mastermind Champion. So let's have our first contender, please. And your name is?
Stuart Cross.
Occupation?
Gallery assistant.
And your chosen subject?
The life and works of Titian.
The life and works of Titian in 2 minutes, starting now. After being apprenticed to Sebastiano Zaccato, a master of mosaics, Titian worked under which Venetian brothers?
The Bellini brothers.
Correct. The Pietà, which Titian was working on for his own tomb at the time of his death, was completed by which artist?
Parma Giovanni.
Correct. With whom is Titian said to have collaborated on the frescoes on the Fondaco dei Tedeschi?
Giorgione.
Correct. In the Baptism of Christ, painted in about 1515, what is the name of the donor who appears at the lower right of the picture?
Zam.
Giovanni Ram. In Venice, Titian's two closest friends were the poet Pietro Aretino and which sculptor who was the city's chief architect?
Sansovino.
Correct. Because of the jacket that he's wearing, how is the portrait of a man, the so-called Ariosto, which is on display in the National Gallery, commonly known?
The man with a quilted sleeve.
It is. In about 1533, Titian painted his celebrated portrait of Charles V, apparently based on an almost identical one by which Austrian artist?
Seisenegger.
Correct. Given that the first of Titian's mythological paintings for Philip II was the Danae, what was the subject of the second of these pictures, which he sent to him in London in 1554?
Venus and Adonis.
It is. What was the name of Titian's first wife and mother of his children Pomponio and Orazio?
Cecilia.
Correct. In the allegory of Prudence, which animal is pictured under the young head to the right of the picture?
The dog.
Yes. Which Venetian family did Titian portray venerating a relic of the True Cross in the 1540s?
The Pesaro.
No, the Vendramian family. Which erotic painting is named after the subsequent title of its owner, Guidobaldo, Duke of Camerino?
The Venus of Urbino.
Correct. Which animal appears with the Madonna and St. Catherine in the picture painted about 1530, giving it its popular title?
A rabbit.
Correct. What title did Charles V bestow on Titian, which was an unprecedented honour for a painter?
He was Count Palatine.
He was. Which cardinal in a painting of 1532 is depicted in Hungarian costume to commemorate the campaign against the Turks, which he led as papal legate?
Pass.
What title has been given since the 17th century to the celebrated painting, I shall finish the question, to the celebrated painting of two women, one clothed and the other naked, supposedly commissioned by Niccolò Aurelio?
Sacred and Profane Love.
That is correct. Also, Stuart Cross, you passed on one question. The cardinal, in a painting of 1532, depicted in that Hungarian costume, was Ippolito de' Medici. You scored, Stuart Cross, a total of 13 points. And our second contender, please. And your name is?
Andrew Burrows.
Occupation?
Subtitler.
And chosen subject?
Alan Partridge.
Alan Partridge in 2 minutes. What is the name of Alan's son, who he named after an ABBA record?
Fernando.
Correct. Who was Alan's first ever guest on the television show Knowing Me, Knowing You?
Sue Lewis.
It was. Which video company produced Crash Bang Wallop What a Video with Alan Partridge?
Blue Barn.
No. Meteor Films. What was the title of Alan's autobiography which described his battles with weight and depression?
Bouncing Back.
It was. Alan appeared as a guest on which religious radio show on Talk Cambridge, hosted by Tessa McPherson?
Prayer Wave.
Yes, Alan's former teacher Frank Raphael is the head of which school that Alan once attended?
Sir William Dunwoody.
Yes. Who played the disc jockey Dave Clifton, with whom Alan often shared banter on air at Radio Norwich?
Phil Cornwell.
Yes. To which country club was Alan denied access after pointing out lax security, eventually injuring himself severely, tried to climb over the fence?
Choristers.
Yes. In Series 1 of I'm Alan Partridge, what was the title of Episode 1 in which Alan has a shambolic meeting with Tony Hayers?
A Room with an Alan.
It was. From which racecourse did Alan present horse racing in the second episode of The Day Today?
Marple.
Correct. What is the name of Alan's production company where he once sacked all the staff rather than downsize his car?
Pear Tree Productions.
Yes. What was the name of Alan Partridge's guest on his radio show Knowing Me, Knowing You, who was voted Carnaby Street's Mr. Boutique of 1969?
Adam Wells.
Yes. Which polytechnic did Alan Partridge attend before embarking on a career in journalism?
East Anglia.
It was. On which BBC Radio 4 show did Alan Partridge get his first big break doing the sports report?
On the Hour.
Yes. Which veteran rock star was interviewed by Alan Partridge during a Radio Norwich segment of 1999's Comic Relief?
Brian Ferry.
Yes. Which writer of the I'm Alan Partridge series played the combative interviewer Ray Woolard on the documentary Anglian Lives?
Peter Bainham.
Yes. Which old friend of Alan's replaced the late Tony Hayers as chief commissioning editor of the BBC?
Chris Feathers.
Yes. In the radio version of Knowing Me, Knowing You, from which American city did Alan co-present a show with American model Kendall Ball?
Las Vegas.
It was. What was the title of the I'm Alan Partridge episode where Alan planned to watch every James Bond film over a bank holiday weekend?
Never Say Alan Again.
It was indeed. You passed on none of those questions, Andrew Burrows, and you scored a total of 18 points. And our third contender, please. And your name?
Eleanor McNair,
Occupation?
retired scientific civil servant.
And your chosen subject?
Johnson and Boswell's tour of the Hebrides.
Johnson and Boswell's tour of the Hebrides in 2 minutes, beginning now. What is the day and date of Boswell's first entry in his journal of the tour?
It was August 1773.
The date is Sunday the 15th, I'm afraid I have to tell you that. What was the name of the Laird of Rasay who entertained Boswell and Johnson during their stay on the island?
Alan MacLeod.
It was John MacLeod. In his entry of the 18th of August 1773, how did Boswell describe his manservant Joseph Ritter, who accompanied them on the tour, adding that he was a fine, stately fellow, above 6 feet high?
He was a Bohemian.
Correct. In praise of which island did Johnson write a Latin verse after spending Sunday the 17th of October there?
Skye.
Inchkenneth. During their journey to Talisker, Johnson said of the Scots, "We have taught you and will do the same to all barbarous nations, to the Cherokees and at last to whom?"
Pass.
What was the name of the inn in Glasgow at which Boswell and Johnson arrived on the 28th of October, spending the following day there?
Pass.
When they were travelling to Rasay on the 8th of September, which Latin poet's ode on the perils of the sea did Johnson repeat?
Oh, pass.
In which royal borough did the travellers spend their first night after setting out from Edinburgh at the start of their tour?
Pass.
What was the name of the family seat of the Laird of Coll at which the travellers arrived on the 5th of October?
Grisipol.
Brechachia. At Inchkenneth, Boswell expressed delight at finding a parcel of editions of which newspaper published since their departure from Edinburgh?
Pass.
What was the occupation of Boswell's friend Sir William Forbes, whom he introduced to Johnson at breakfast on the first morning?
Lawyer.
He was a banker. When the travellers were staying with Boswell's father in Auchinleck, Boswell begged Johnson to avoid 3 topics of conversation on Whiggism, Presbyterianism and...
Sir John
what
Pringle.
or whom?
Sir John Pringle.
Sir John Pringle is correct. You passed Eleanor McNair on 5 questions. It was the Caledonian Mercury at Inchkenneth that Boswell expressed delight at finding a parcel of editions of. In St Andrews, that was the royal borough where they spent their first night after setting out from Edinburgh. When they were travelling to Rasay on the 8th of September, it was Horace whose ode he quoted. What was the name of the inn in Glasgow? It was Saracen's Head. And during their journey to Talisker, he talked about barbarous nations, the Cherokees and the orangutans. So, Eleanor McNair, 5 passes, 2 points. And our fourth contender, please. And your name is?
David Morgan,
Occupation?
care worker,
And your chosen subject?
the Football World Cup.
The World Cup. In which year did all four home countries appear in the World Cup finals tournament?
1958.
Correct. Which country topped Group B in the first round of Italia 90 with a negative goal difference?
God, pass.
Who scored the first golden goal in World Cup history when France beat Paraguay in the second round of the 1998 finals?
Laurent Blanc.
Correct. Which country, many of whose players are based in England, played in the 1938 finals and did not qualify again until 1994?
Pass.
Three French players were shown the red card during the 98 finals: Marcel Desailly, Laurent Blanc, and who else?
Thuram.
No, Zidane. In 1974, Zaire played one of their Group 2 matches in Dortmund. Where did they play the other two?
Frankfurt.
Gelsenkirchen. What Christian name was shared by three of the German players who appeared in the 2002 final against Brazil?
Moller.
No, it was Oliver. Which German goalkeeper brought down French substitute Patrick Battiston with an infamous tackle during the 82 semi-final?
Howard Schumacher.
Correct. Which country did Hungary beat by a record 10-1 margin in the group stages of the 82 finals?
El Salvador.
Correct. Which Portsmouth midfielder scored the only international goal of his career with an own goal during extra time in England's 54 World Cup opener against Belgium?
Dickinson.
It was. Who scored the only goal when Brazil beat Wales 1-0 in the quarter-finals of the 58 tournament?
Pelé.
Correct. Which former Blackpool and England's goalkeeper was the Canadian coach during the 86 finals?
George Farm.
No, Tony Waiters. What was the nationality of Gottfried Dienst, the referee of the 66 World Cup final?
He was Swiss.
He was. When Portugal beat the USSR 2-1 in the third-place playoff in 66, Eusebio scored one of the Portuguese goals from the penalty spot. Who scored the other from open play? Torres it was.
Torres.
In 1934, which country became the first from Africa to take part in the World Cup finals?
Egypt.
Correct. Whose goal after 11 seconds for Turkey against South Korea? I shall finish the question. Whose goal after 11 seconds for Turkey against South Korea in the 2002 third-place playoff was the fastest in World Cup finals history?
Hakan Şükür.
Yes, it was. You had two passes, David Morgan. The country that many of whose players are based in England played in the 38 finals and didn't qualify again until 94 was Norway. And the country that topped Group B in the first round of Italia 90 with the negative goal difference was Cameroon. So, two passes, 10 points.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of our first round, the specialist subject. So let's have a look at the scores at this stage. In fourth place, with 2, is Eleanor McNair. In third place, with 10, David Morgan. In second place, with 13, is Stuart Cross. In the lead, with 18 points, Andrew Burrows. So we move on to round 2 now, our general knowledge round. And remember here, if there is a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes will be taken into consideration, and the contender with the fewest passes will be declared the winner. If there's still a tie on points, then there will be a 5-question playoff. So let's see what happens. Let's get on with the general knowledge round, and let me first ask Eleanor McNair to join us again, if she would, please. It's a fairly terrifying business, this, isn't it? Nothing quite prepares you. You got only 2 points there, but I'll bet that if you'd had time to think about those questions, you would have done rather better. What about your choice of the subject? Because these are two fascinating characters, and it's the relationship between the two, isn't it, Boswell and Johnson?
Very fascinating, and the contrast between their two descriptions. And I covered quite a lot of the ground that they covered.
Some of those Johnson sayings that have gone down in history, we remember him for. What do you like of what he had to say?
Oh, saying the Giant's Causeway was worth seeing but not worth going to see.
Well, we've had your specialist subject, so let's test your general knowledge now, and you have 2 minutes, starting now. Which of the Queen's close relatives made his name as a photographer for Vogue in the 1960s?
Lichfield.
Correct. Sweden, Finland and which other country joined the European Union on the 1st of January 1995?
Portugal.
No, Austria. The western part of which island is the Indonesian province of Irian Jaya?
Java,
New Guinea. Which London palace was destroyed by fire in 1698, only Inigo Jones's banqueting house surviving?
Whitehall,
Correct. Which cross with two horizontal bars was adopted as their symbol by the Free French during World War II?
the Cross of Lorraine,
Correct. Which 19th century novelist wrote The Tenant of Wildfell Hall?
Anne Bronte,
Correct. What is the medical term for inflammation at the joints, such as housemaid's knee?
bursitis,
Correct. What name did Herbert Faber and Daniel O'Connor give to the first laminate, which they patented in 1913 as a mica substitute?
pass,
Which fictional nanny told her charges that she would stay until the wind changes?
Mary Poppins,
Correct. What was the name of the country house near Paris which was bought in 1799 by Napoleon's first wife, Josephine?
Malmaison,
Correct. Naiad is the innermost and Nereid the outermost of the 8 satellites of which planet?
Jupiter,
No, Neptune. Which 16th century poet invented the land of Faerie and its queen Gloriana in his best-known work?
Spencer,
Correct. In August 1995, Moses Kiptanui of Kenya became the first man to break the 8-minute barrier in which athletics event?
pass,
In Greek mythology, what type of bush did the gods turn Daphne into so that she could escape the attentions of Apollo?
Laurel,
Correct. Paul McGann overcame Sting, Simon Callow and Alan Rickman to become the 8th man to play which television character in the 1996 film version?
James Bond,
No, Doctor Who. Which Dutch artist's painting Girl with a Pearl Earring, I'll finish the question, which Dutch artist's painting Girl with a Pearl Earring inspired a novel by Tracy Chevalier and the 2003 film of the same name?
Vermeer,
Vermeer it was indeed. You had 2 passes. In August 95, Moses Kiptanui ran the 3,000-metre steeplechase. And the name that Herbert Faber and Daniel O'Connor gave to the first laminate was Formica. You have scored, after those 2 passes, 12 points. And now let me ask David Morgan to join us, please. And you had a total of 10 points that time with your Football World Cup. Now, lots of people are interested in football. Mostly, though, they support a particular club side, Manchester United or somebody. You don't. Why not?
I've never had a particular attachment to a club. I suppose from where I come from, it should be Shrewsbury Town, but I think in the lower divisions, I suppose
Yes.
I never formed an attachment to them. No.
So you're a sort of academic fan in that sense,
I don't know about academic, given the score I got, but...
Well, you got 10 points, which is perfectly respectable.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at your general knowledge now. 10 points in
Okay.
your last round. Let's see how you do with these 2 minutes of general knowledge starting now. Grayson Perry, the winner of the Turner Prize in 2003, works in which medium?
Sculpture.
Pottery. Which English Conservative politician who died in 1982 was twice narrowly beaten to the leadership of his party by Harold Macmillan in 1957 and by Alec Douglas Hume in 1963?
Rab Butler.
Correct. Which inlet of the Irish Sea separates northwest England from southwest Scotland?
Pass.
What was the name of Damon Hill's father, twice a Formula One world driving champion in the 1960s?
Graham Hill.
Correct. Which British-born actor directed the 1955 film The Night of the Hunter?
Pass.
Who, according to Mark Antony in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, was the noblest Roman of them all?
Brutus.
Correct. Which planet was being referred to in the title of the television series Third Rock from the Sun?
Earth.
Correct. In the UK, which motoring organisation based in Chiswick has the initials IAM?
Institute of Advanced Motoring.
Correct. The houses of Alpin, Athol, Balliol and Bruce are 4 of the royal houses to have ruled an independent Scotland. Which is the 5th?
Stuart.
Correct. Which type of headache derives its name from the Greek heremicrania, meaning half skull, as only one side of the head is usually affected?
Migraine.
Correct. The price of crude oil in the United States is set principally by the price of West Texas Intermediate. Which North Sea field is widely used as the benchmark for the rest of the world?
Brent.
Correct. The Forth Railway Bridge is a classic example of which type of bridge construction?
Cantilever.
Correct. Weber's Invitation to the Dance of 1819 is generally recognised to be the first sophisticated treatment of which dance rhythm particularly associated with Vienna?
Waltz.
Correct. In English law prior to 1996, what name was given to coins found concealed in the ground which a coroner's inquest decided belonged to the Crown?
Treasure. Treasure.
Treasure trove. A cricket match between Al Muggleton and Dingley Dell features in which novel by Charles Dickens?
Pickwick Papers?
Correct.
Guess.
You had
Yes.
2 passes there, David Morgan. The actor who directed the 1955 film The Night of the Hunter was Charles Lawton, and the inlet of the Irish Sea separating England from Scotland, the Solway Firth,
Oh, yeah.
which, of course, you knew now. You have, with your 10 points in the first round, a total of 21 points.
Thank you.
And Stuart Cross now, if he would, please. And you got 13 points last time around with your knowledge of Titian. The appeal of Titian is what, in particular?
He was an amazing user of colour, like most of the Venetian painters, a tremendous use of colour. And also, I think he was one of the first truly great sensual painters. He painted women very, very attractively in a way that's not been done before.
And you gave up a job to work in a gallery. You
Well,
ran a shop.
I was made redundant in my 50s and decided there was no point in me chasing jobs I wasn't going to get in my 50s. So I decided to do something I really wanted to do, which was work in a museum and an art gallery.
So your hobby became your career?
In a sense, yes, although we don't have any Titians where I work. So.
Well, you did very well. You scored 13 points in the first round. Let's see how you score in your general knowledge round. 2 minutes, starting now. What name is given to a system intended to increase fitness and improve body shape by fast, strenuous exercises with the improved use of oxygen?
Is that calisthenics?
Aerobics. Whose novel Cold Mountain, set in the South during the American Civil War, was filmed with Nicole Kidman and Jude Law?
Miller?
Charles Frazier. Which South American fish is attracted to the smell of blood and can reduce even a large mammal to a skeleton in a short time?
Piranha?
Correct. In which daily newspaper did Beachcomber write a humorous column from 1924 to 75?
The Daily Express?
It was. A young peasant woman called Marenka is the title character of which opera by Smetana?
The Barter Bride?
Correct. Which factor in human blood was discovered in 1940 when it was found that antigens from human blood formed antibodies when introduced into the blood of certain monkeys?
Is this the rhesus factor?
Yes. Which American inventor was known as the Wizard of Menlo Park?
Edison?
Yes. Anemophily is the pollination of flowers by which method?
Hummingbirds?
The wind. Which seaport 7 miles from Dublin was formerly known as Kingstown?
Dunleary?
Correct. Who won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for her role as Lynn Bracken, a call girl with a striking similarity to Veronica Lake in the 1997 film L.A. Confidential?
Kim Basinger?
Correct. Which German interjection meaning your health is said to a person who has just sneezed?
Gesundheit?
Correct. Under what name is the Russian revolutionary Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov usually known?
Lenin?
Correct. Which seeds with cumin are used to flavour the liqueur Kummel?
Pass.
In which novel by H.G. Wells did Martians land on Woking Common and begin their reign of terror by taking over Surrey?
The War of the Worlds?
Correct. Which martial art and Olympic sports in Sydney 2000 has a Korean name meaning the way of hands and feet?
Kendo?
Taekwondo. The jester sang for the king and queen in a coat he borrowed from James Dean is a line from which classic 70s hit?
American Pie?
Correct. Which politician and journalist repeatedly expelled from Parliament during the reign of George III, I'll finish the question, was particularly famed for his attacks on the government in his paper The North Briton?
Steele?
John Wilkes. You passed on one of those questions, Stuart Cross. The seed used with cumin to flavour the liqueur Kummel is caraway seeds. You had 13 points. You now have a total of 24 points. And finally, Andrew Burrows, if he would join us, please. So, you did terribly well with your first round, 18 points.
Thank you.
So, you've got a very strong position as we speak, and you're fascinated by Alan Partridge. Why?
Well, I think he's a very good comedy character. I think a lot of the best comic characters are quite unpleasant people, like Basil Fawlty or Blackadder. I think Alan Partridge is a good example of that, the sort of petty selfishness and xenophobia of some of Middle England.
Well, you did very well with Alan Partridge. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. You have 2 minutes starting now. The bright green liqueur Midori is made from which fruit?
Melon.
Correct. The giant protea is the national flower of which Commonwealth country?
Kenya.
No, South Africa. Which boy band's cover version of Barry Manilow's Mandy entered the UK singles chart at #1 in November 2003?
Westlife.
Correct. Dundalk is its county town. Which is the smallest county in the Irish Republic?
Clare.
No, Louth. First discovered by airmen during World War II, what name is given to the long, narrow, high-speed air currents that flow eastward in a generally horizontal zone in the stratosphere or upper troposphere?
Pass.
In the novels by Baroness Orczy, which flower did Sir Percy Blakeney choose for his undercover name when rescuing French aristocrats from the guillotine?
Pimpernel.
Correct. Which South Coast resort has its own symphony orchestra founded in 1893 that's now based at the Lighthouse Arts Centre in Poole?
Brighton.
Bournemouth. Marie-Louise of Austria was the second wife of which French emperor?
Pass.
In mathematics, what name is given to the number below the line in a vulgar fraction?
Denominator.
Correct. What was the nationality of the former Formula One world champions Niki Lauda and Joachim Rindt?
Austrian.
Correct. The card game known as Patience is known as what in the USA?
Solitaire.
Correct. What name was given to the detachment of the Luftwaffe sent by Goering for special duties with Franco's nationalist forces during the Spanish Civil War?
Pass.
Which space telescope orbiting 370 miles above the Earth celebrated its 10th anniversary in 2000?
Hubble.
Correct. What did the architect Le Corbusier describe as a machine for living in?
Pass.
Which city, founded in 1824, is the capital of Florida?
Tallahassee.
Correct. Hans Sachs, a singer and playwright who lived from 1494 to 1576, is immortalised in which of Wagner's operas?
The Nibelungen.
Die Meistersinger. Buddenbrooks was the first novel by which future Nobel laureate?
Thomas Mann.
Correct. You had 4 passes there, Andrew Burrows. Le Corbusier described as the machine for living in a house. The name given to the detachment of the Luftwaffe sent by Goering was the Condor Legion. Marie-Louise was the second wife of Napoleon Bonaparte. And it is the jet stream that circles the Earth way up there. Andrew Burrows, 4 passes, 18 points in the first round, a total of 27 points. So, at the end of the general knowledge round, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 12 points is Eleanor McNair. In 3rd place with 21 points, David Morgan. In 2nd place with 24 points, Stuart Cross. In 1st place with 27 points, Andrew Burrows. So that means that Andrew Burrows goes through to the next round and moves a step closer to becoming our Mastermind champion. Congratulations to him. And please join us next time for more Masterminds. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
We're getting married tonight on BBC Two when a new series follows different couples tying the knot. A very British wedding starts at 8:30. Next this afternoon, the magnificent spectacle of Shire horses hard at work with Britain's heritage heroes.